G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today, we're going to be having a look at one of the hidden gems in the American tank tree. This is the M4A2. Now this tank differs from the regular M4 and the M4A1 by simply being more armoured. I believe it is an up-armoured M4 and might have a slightly different engine, slightly different suspension, but the main point is it has more armour. And in War Thunder, it gets tracks. It gets the add-on armor of the track links, essentially, which is really, really helpful. And you'll see in this game just how important those track links are and how strong this tank really is. This tank used to be 4.3. It used to face T-34-85s, and it used to face very, very tough opposition. Now, it faces Panzer IVs, Panzer IIIs, Pumas, Packwagon, and it can really lay the hurt on them. It's so strong in the right hands, and you'll see in a moment exactly why. Now, what I'm doing is I'm doing a little rush tactic, which I normally do on this map, and you can see there's a Puma already around the corner. He's been surprised. That is his gunner, his loader, and his radiator. Easy. Very, very easy shot, but there is an ISU-122 or an SU-122 coming around the corner, but he decides, this guy doesn't exist, and I have the opportunity to pop the Puma or the Packwagon. And very, very easy kills. This guy doesn't even see me. He thinks he's got the whole road to himself, but obviously, no sir. No you don't. I'm not the only blind one in this match. It turns out there is a KV-1 there who saw me, and I didn't really see him. We're gonna have a little greatest tankers fight. This could probably go on Dita's channel. This fight turned out a little bit potato, to be honest. I'm trying to fire. I'm trying to get shots off. I'm missing all the weak spots. I'm basically trying to aim for the turret ring, but luck would have it, I end up shooting right above the gun in the other weak spot. So I end up taking him out in one shot anyway. This tank has so much armor. I believe that's an L11 KV-1, which is at the same battle rating. And you're essentially a heavy tank, but with medium tank spawn points. You have so much durability, and your armor is so thick, and it's a little bit disgusting. It's really, really strong, and it can bully a lot of unsuspecting people. That's what I love about this tank. It just has that ability to bully. You can push out in front of an enemy tank, and sometimes, depending on the tank, not worry about taking a shot, because you'll be able to just deal one straight back. One such tank is that Panzer III, who sees an untimely demise. And it has a 75, by the way. That's the 75mm. I can't remember what what number it is, but it's the generic Sherman 75. It's so good. It's surprisingly powerful, and you can lay the hurt on almost any tank that you want, particularly KV-1s, and especially the Panzer IVs. It's surprising the amount of damage that you can actually do with that shot when you land them. And you can see here, I managed to put one straight through the optics of the T-34 and one-shot him. Very, very powerful gun. And a lot of people underestimate this tank, and a lot of people underestimate the gun. That's one of the things that I find a little bit sad, to be honest, about War Thunder, is that you have so many vehicles. You have, I think, 1,200 or 1,300 vehicles at this point, including, helicopters, planes, tanks, ships. And there are so many that most of them just get overlooked, and everyone just goes, Tiger 1, Tiger E, Tiger 2, M18 Hellcat, Doom Turtle, Abrams, T-64, T-80, the major ones, the popular, iconic ones, T-29s, T-30. And it's kind of sad that little M4A2 Sherman over here gets neglected. Poor little Sherman, One day he wanted to grow up and be famous, so I decided to make a YouTube video on him. And here we go. This tank is very, very strong. And it's the quiet achiever, if you will. It's something that a lot of people just sort of, when they unlock it, or I fell into this trap as well, you unlock a tank and you play it for a couple of games. You don't like its stock, and so you move on. And that's really, really unfortunate, to be honest, because you don't get to spade the tank and you don't get to, go through the development process with this tank. You improve it little by little when you get your upgrades, and then finally it becomes, without realizing, this absolute monster, and it's just disgusting, to be honest. I think it's fine at 3.7, but it's very, very powerful, and you can see here. I'm lost for words. I don't know how that got me a kill, but you know what? American 75, I'll take it. So yeah, this tank is all right on roads. It's not terribly fast, but on soft terrain you'll find it sort of starting to slow down. And that's the thing about this tank. It has a lot of armor, but it has very poor mobility. So if you can get into a situation where you're being flanked, you're probably going to end up dead. And that's the big weak spot of this tank. It's mobility. It just doesn't really have any. And that's what you can take advantage of. Not only that, but it does have some frontal weak spots, so you can actually aim for them. But honestly, if you put this thing into a hull down position or a cheeky position where you can cover the machine gun port and parts of the turret, I think you're pretty much set. You have a very, very good gun, and you can really put that to work even on KV-1Bs. I wouldn't aim for the certain weak spots that the KV-1B, the strong spots, rather, for the stuff that the KV-1B has. So, for example, the upper front plate and the extra reinforcements on the tank, which, to be honest, I still don't know because I don't have it. I just aim for the gun, aim for the turret ring, and I should be able to destroy it that way. And 99% of the time that works. The tank itself, the KV-1B, is obviously a little bit under-tiered. It's balanced by its gun rather than by its armor, and that's why we get such a disgusting tank at such a low battle rating. But the M4 is more balanced by a mix of three. I would say that the M4A2 is balanced on its armor, its mobility, and its gun. The gun is very good. The armor is good, very strong, and the mobility is poor and very poor. So I think overall you have a very well balanced tank. It has 10 degrees of gun depression. So on a map like Frozen Pass, or Frozen Arse as I like to call it, because back in the day I used to think it was pretty terrible, but now it's decent. It's a decent map. I've grown to like it, apart from the glaring snow, which I think that's just a Daegor engine thing. But regardless, I think this tank is very, very well balanced. It's disgusting, but it's very, very well balanced. Kind of like the G2 Tropical. It sits in a spot where it's just very, very good. And everything above it and below it will sort of actually have to try to kill it, rather than just aim for center of mass like the rest of the Shermans. And that's why I think it shines. Simply because people underestimate it. And one of the things that you should never do is underestimate your opponent. Even though everyone, literally everyone who plays this game, can fall into that trap. And most people do, including myself. You can see what I've decided to do is try and go for a flank, but the capture circle has been invaded by two T-34s, and you'll just see me put this gun to work. You've seen the armor, you've seen the mobility, and now you get to relish in the glory of the gun once more. You can see, simple side shot to a T-34, and it's gone. 100 mils of pen, you can't miss that. Another T-34, I get to shoot his side of his turret. I probably should have aimed a little bit further forward and a little bit lower, but honestly, I get a disabling shot, his track gets taken out by artillery, and I get to defend the base once more. Again, this tank is such a well-rounded vehicle that it's just nice to play. And I've been using it to grind out my event, and I've been having a lot of success. I'm taking the Corsair in the lineup, I've been taking various CAS planes, and it's been fun. It's been very, very enjoyable. You take the M10 Achilles, you take yourself, the Wolverine rather, the American one. You take another Sherman or a Chaffee, and overall you have a really well-rounded lineup. You get some good CAS planes. You're pretty much set. And then, of course, you can choose your SPAA. the M16 would be my go-to, but in all honesty, I think I just want quick matches in this tank, quick matches to be over, and win them as quickly as possible. But, sometimes it doesn't happen that way, and this match dragged on for about 20 to 30 minutes. It was a very long, drawn-out match, but I think it was worth it. We've done so much work in this battle. It's incredible. I've managed to pretty much secure an entire flank and the center of the map. Not quite by myself, but obviously with the help of teammates, but obviously leading the charge. And I think the M4A2 is one of the perfect candidates to do that. It's just the perfect tank to push a capture circle, to brawl, and it's something the Americans don't really have. The Shermans, they have decent armor, but nothing really that can stop Panzer IVs, T-34s, etc. And one of the things that the Shermans really didn't have is exactly that. And the M4A2 fills that role perfectly. It's just one of those things. And that's game. A nice 10-kill game, a very solid finish, and perhaps one of the most long drawn-out games that I had at this battle rating. Obviously, I've had battles that have gone to, 30 minutes, but 10 kills, 2 caps, 1 assist. That's a really, really good result. And sadly, I didn't come first, but I can't have everything. That's one of the sad things. Can't have everything. Just terrible. Oh, my heart. But jokes aside, it's a really, really fun vehicle, and I would highly recommend looking back at this vehicle and giving it another go. Anyway, ladies and gents, take care, and I'll catch you next time.